Hello and welcome back to the Kerbal Space program. My name is WWEdeadman, but you already know that. As I said last time, this is post-commentary and this is 10 times time acceleration. So you can imagine what it was like to play this. Yeah, pretty much the same as last time, like 3 frames per second. An in-game second was like 5 or more seconds. All in all, it was just not a very, nice experience, let's say like that. Anyway, as you see here, unfortunately, after getting to this stage, where I only have the middle tanks of the lowest stage, I kind of stopped going up. So I decided to stage and just do more or less a landing test, because I didn't actually try to land this thing ever before. And I do want to know whether I would survive landing on Eve, Also, this way I could make sure how long the middle stage would burn. Okay, in the end I said, hey, let's just get rid of all of this and open the parachutes. And then we're gonna see when the parachutes open. First, of course, the drogue chutes will start slowing us down. Right here. By the way, if you look at the G meter at that point, it was pretty nice G forces. Also, I splashed down at 18 meters per second, which was kind of not a nice thing. So I slapped on a few more parachutes, and I ended up doing something else for the lower stage. So yeah, I ended up putting fuel lines so all the tanks would run out at the same time, except for the outer tanks with the mainsail engines. Those still drop, and then after that, the part with the solid boosters would drop. I slapped on enough parachutes, I hope, because it would be embarrassing if we get over to Eve but don't manage to land our lander just because we fuck up on the parachutes. So as you see, all the lower stage tanks are now running out at the same time. Also, I started my gravity turn way early, just to be sure. In reality, it is a gradual thing and not just go straight up until that height and then go over to 90 degrees. So I ended up doing a more realistic launch here, although that is not very realistic to launch such a huge thing into space. NASA, of course, if they would do something like that, would build this thing in space, because the cost of getting something like this into orbit would just that would just break all possibilities here. As you see, the upper stage boosters do a pretty good job of getting us out of the atmosphere. Get that there. We are out of the atmosphere now. For once, I can kind of read stuff on my screen, because the Call of Duty Studio X7 actually has the option of having your preview be HD, so I kinda can see stuff now when doing this post commentary. It's a nice thing. yeah, as you see, we burn out on this stage right here and get over to the last stage, which just at a fraction of a G we still get by. I was worried that we wouldn't get into orbit, but as you see, even though we've passed apoapsis at this point, we are getting into orbit. There's our periapsis, and there it is going up. And there we are in an orbit. Also, this is now back to normal time. So, yeah, as you see, pretty awesome orbit. And also a kind of, doable frame rate by now. I think it was up to somewhere around 10 to 14 frames per second. Pretty good, actually. Yeah, now let's rename this thing to and just let's remove the launch part here, because it's not launch anymore. Also, it's a lander, not a rover. I have no idea why the game thought it's a rover. I mean, I don't have wheels on that thing. Maybe because of the seat, but whatever. Yeah. All we had to do there, after I was done just enjoying the fact that we actually managed to get this thing into space, was stage right here so we could get rid of the tanks that were still hanging there. And that's the staging right. Wait, I was still making sure that I am actually in an orbit because, I don't want to do bad stuff. Then we stage. I quick saved, of course, before that. Then we get over to this part and get this out of the way so it will never make it impossible to dock or something. The debris sometimes has problems getting out of the way, if you know what I mean. Really, I should have probably put some sort of hard connection to these outer tanks so I could actually move these two, or put drone stuff on that, or remote control stuff, because, well, this way I had to maneuver that one out, and I still don't know whether the rest of this thing will somehow fuck up or something. I don't want these tanks to randomly smash into my ship, Yeah, anyway, I turned this tank over so it can return to Kerbal. At least some of the parts should not add to a Kessler syndrome around Kerbal. Kessler syndrome, of course, being where your orbit gets so cluttered up that you cannot get out of it anymore, because you certainly will hit something on the way. Yeah, also camera kind of confused here while I'm skipping through the stuff to get back to my main ship. Yeah, that was one too much. There we go. Just making sure that the docking port is okay here. And then that our orbit is still okay. And then all that's left to do is get an engine up there to get this over to Eve. Now, of course, speaking about engines, I don't think that our standard nuclear engine will just quite cut it. So anyway, we go back to the Space Center, and I've designed a little thing that should make it a little bit easier for us to get that over. Pretty much just a bigger engine. You will see that in a minute, as soon as it loads. Come on. Into the Vehicle Assembly Center, because we need to launch a nuclear engine up there that is capable of getting this over to Eve. The engine I built is probably capable of getting this over to Elu. Yeah, anyway, of course, this loading screen kind of sucks because, it's loading the ship that we just launched. I should have probably cut that out. Yeah, now we're stuck with that. I'm not gonna restart the recording of the commentary. I'm doing that in one take. So, what have you been up to today? Tell me in the comments down below. Yeah, also while this is loading, of course we are going to load my pre-built nuclear engine here. Mark V, as I called it. I don't know if we actually did 5 different engines, but I think that's a thing. So yeah. Also, concerning the helicopter version. Yeah, 1K Volt actually sent me the ultimate version, so to say, and that's gonna be the next episode. Just a little test of that thing. He sent really nice instructions with it. I had real fun reading that. Yeah, anyway, that's gonna be the next episode. Right now, this is our nuclear engine. Yeah, in there, that is kind of a fairing I made up, so these nuclear engines out there are actually a thing that is shrouded by something while we're launching. And yes, you saw right, there's 5 nuclear engines on a big tank. Yeah, of course, launch stability enhancers should be a thing, so let's put some of those on there. 4 if possible, thank you. And then copy over and do that here as well. Also, they just went into the completely wrong stage. And generally my staging is a little bit off, as I just saw at that moment. So yeah, let's put this the inner engines down there too, please. Yeah. Okay. Staging is okay. And yeah, that's asparagus staged. And then yeah, that's that. And the other big decoupler here is the decoupler of the nose cone up there. That's covering up the docking port, so we don't have a flat top. Because we built for the eye too, not only for actual aerodynamics in-game that don't actually work the way that they are supposed to work. Yeah, I'm going a little bit big here with the launch stability enhancers, but you can't have too many of those, really. Especially because, this is a fucking huge rocket. Anyway, this is that, and we're going to launch this thing in normal time. Because for once, it was so nice having not having the lag of over 1,000 parts that I used on the other rocket. I don't actually have the part count right now, but I think there was around like 1,000 parts or above. I don't really know. I wanted to look at it, but then I forgot. Yeah, anyway, this is pretty smooth. Normal frame rate. Throttling up and launch. We don't even need SRBs on this. Solid rocket boosters. We have the liquid boosters on the outside. That's totally enough. Also bring up all our instruments here. I didn't wait really for a nice launching window here, so we could rendezvous in the least possible time. I just wanted to get this thing up and worry about the rendezvousing when we're in space. It's not like that's gonna be a problem at all. I mean, I'm probably not gonna get a very good target orbit anyway. Yeah, as you see, I should have probably used fuel lines on the outer booster stage, because it seems that they are not far from being at the same level of fuel as the inner rocket engines. So having that stage and still having stuff inside would have been a nice big thing. But hey, this thing is totally overpowered for the launch that we're doing anyway. In case you didn't realize that yet. Yeah, that's how overpowered the new parts are. You can launch pretty much anything into space. I think you could pretty much launch a whole space station without ever having a problem with docking, because you don't need to dock. You can just launch the whole space station right away. Of course, then you get the problems with the frame rate that I had on the first launch, but... Okay, as you see, this is going well. We're up to 6,000 meters. I've started my gravity turn because I was kind of used to it. Starting the gravity turn early so you have the most efficiency on your ascent, so to say. Okay, we're about to run out of fuel in the outer booster stage. There we go. Booster burnout in 3, 2, 1. I'm not good at counting down to actual burnouts, but you already know that, I guess. And burnout right there. Come on, please. I'm running out of stuff to say. There we go. Stage separation successful and clean. We are now at 22 kilometers up and at a speed of over 500 meters per second. Just over 600. I think. Can't really read that. And there the lower engines burn out. Then something strange happened. I think the decouplers of the new parts have a little bit of a problem, especially when it comes to stuff that is threaded together, because they kind of don't decouple all the correctly, as you see. Yeah. Anyway, those are the other big engines that came with the update, and yeah. Those are so fucking overpowered. I wouldn't have needed to actually asparagus stage those, as you're going to see once we are in orbit, because it's not much of a thing to get this thing up, really, as you're going to see. Look at the acceleration. We're at like 2 or 3 Gs of acceleration. Okay, getting over to vertical flight because we are pretty much already in space with our apexes. There we go. Getting up to an orbit that is equal to that of the lander that we're going to send over to Eve. and actually getting a lower orbit so we can catch up to the thing is probably not gonna be a thing, so we're gonna probably have to wait in a higher orbit, which is gonna suck a little bit, but anyway. Yeah, also, this thing does not want to be stable at all. The big SAS unit, that kind of sounded like I said big ass unit. No, not ASS, SAS. There we go. Good. Yeah, that big SAS unit that we have up there under the docking port does not really make much of a difference. Yeah, you don't have enough torque to actually keep this thing straight. Also, here are my solar panels. Yeah, I put them on like on the thing that we used for our lathe mission, cause I kind of like that design. Yeah, also that nose cone. I originally planned that the last stage would fly off once we are in orbit and not like shortly before we're docking, because of some sort of freak reason here. Anyway, I managed to get the nose cone off clean. That thing actually has a unit to actually do something. So, as I said originally, I had planned that will fall off once we are in orbit. So I had measures taken so we could actually use use RCS to get it back onto the planet and not have it add to the Kessler syndrome. Yeah. Also, first part of the asparagus staging is gone now. And as you see, we are not very far from being in an orbit, so yeah. I could have just had the outer tanks feed into the middle tank, and that would have been okay too. No need for asparagus staging, really. Yeah, I decided then to just burn into a little bit of a higher orbit than our lander is, because hey, if we have to wait for it, then we have to wait for it, and yeah. Then we are going to wait for it. There we are in space with our periaps, which means that we are free to decouple anything that we want. But I actually ended up leaving that in space that way because, hey, why not? That's our docking port that's gonna dock, and yeah, we're pretty much gonna be able to use the rest of the fuel to make a quick rendezvous happen. But you're gonna see the result of that in the next episode. Right now we're gonna get over to the nose cone and watch that re-enter the atmosphere. Also, I'm gonna show you real quick what system I had would have used to make it break enough to get back into the atmosphere if it actually had come off once we were already in space, in a stable orbit. Yeah, as you see, I've got RCS on it. If I'm gonna zoom in on that right there. Yeah, as you see, there's a single RCS port on the right on top of it. That's perfectly in the middle. Yeah, that would have been a nice way to break this thing. Also, if I zoom in a little further, you can see that inside I actually have the smallest node that I could actually have in there. If we look in here, you see we've got the very small node in there that has a little bit of electric charge, just enough to actually get out of orbit and re-enter the atmosphere if we had to. But this thing would have fallen back anyway. It's just a nice way to end the episode with a little crash. I mean, we had a little crash, a little bit more than a little crash at the start of the episode, but yeah. Anyway, this is it for this episode. I'll see you in the next one for the docking and the transfer to Eve. Or at least part of the transfer. We're gonna see how long that's gonna take. Anyway, till then, like and favorite if you enjoyed. Subscribe for more. And until next time, my name is WWEdeadman. Bye.